at the bottom. And I was very disappointed because I thought I have all those stairs to climb after all this spiritual work I've done and everything else. And I kind of started to laugh at it. I chuckled at it because I realized I was being shown how we move up to the next unknown reality. And the stairs were an invitation. It was like saying the earth is now being invited, and you're now being invited to step up to this new level of reality. And as I looked at the stairs, the screen refreshed and it came back. And when it came back, it actually had on it this braid of DNA. And I knew from that that the way we actually go up to that next level of reality is not by walking up the stairs. It's through energetic changes that take place within our DNA. Okay. Now, the next thing I was shown was that little octahedron again. And what's important about this image is when we were born historically, before the energy changes, you would be born, you'd bring your information, you'd live your life, you'd have your experiences, you'd do your life lesson, you'd resolve your karma, you'd make more karma, you would do whatever you did, and you would go back to the crystal, you would drop that information, and you would go back into spirit. Now, for the first time, energy can come into the crystal that didn't exist there when you were born. Okay? Now, that's a really powerful thing to say because it means you can actually receive energy that you didn't have when you came. And people talk about the concept of dropping karma. And this is really what it means. It means you can bring the energy to dissolve the energies you carried that had you getting addicted or picking your bad relationships or perhaps developing a physical disease. And you can bring in the energy to correct the energy that would propel you to do those things. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? Okay. And then I was shown this big DNA molecule. And in the molecule, at every twist and turn, there was a human form. And if you have these kinds of visions, you know, when you first see the vision, you don't have a clue what you're looking at. You see it, but you think, what am I supposed to do with that? And then as you sit with it, it talks to you, and you get more and more information from it. It's a symbolic language. So it's not a 3D kind of a thing where this is exactly what DNA looks like in the quantum world. It's shown to me this way so that I can conceptualize what's happening. And what was going on here was there was a human being at every twist and turn. And I knew from that that every lifetime you've ever lived is stored in your quantum DNA. And one of those lifetimes is active. But that lifetime has access to all of the other lifetimes, okay? And even things beyond those lifetimes, okay? Now, as we move into this new energy and this new consciousness, the common teachings of the founder of every world religion start to make perfect sense. We understand our unity with Source and with God. It's an individual unity, that it's a collective unity, and that we're beginning to transcend the duality level of human experience. And in this reality, peace is a foundational state of presence. Peace and balance. And love is the foundation of all creation. And you begin to feel that. It's not an idea. It's not like a pretty theory or something you hear at church. You begin to feel that love inside you. And you know you're part of it. And the moment you start feeling that, nothing can undo you. It can't stop happening because you crave it. You know it's possible, you know it's there, and you're not going to be happy until you feel it as your natural state of being. Okay? To support this, there's a whole higher dimensional creative order that's coming into play. So there's a crystalline structure of life, an energy structure of life that's beginning to take shape that serves as the blueprint or the energy structure on which this new world is going to be built. And it will provide the energetic foundation to do the kinds of things that we've been dreaming of. It's going to bring technologies to do all the things we love to do and have energy without destroying the planet to do it. It's going to bring a much greater understanding of consciousness and its role in modeling energy. And it's going to bring all the things that we need to move the world forward into a very different way of being. And this order has always existed. For example, when you look at ancient Eastern religions, the word Om is often described as the original word. Okay, all of creation emerged from the sound Om. And when you tone Om, what you end up toning is a pattern in geometry. If you've ever seen cymatics and how sound will model material, the word Om creates the Sri Yantra. And the Sri Yantra to me is kind of like the masculine form of what the flower of life is in the feminine form. So the two tied together, one is kind of a masculine, one is a feminine expression of the same energy. So it's the divine masculine, the divine feminine, and the bridge between the two worlds, which is actually found within your DNA. Okay. And this diagram, this is an artist's depiction of it, and I thought, my God, this is amazing because it describes exactly that concept. Okay, the Sri Yantra, the divine masculine, the seed of life or flower of life, and DNA is the bridge between these two things. So while we move into this new world, we are beginning to empower working with the unseen. And this is why metaphysical stuff is so mysterious. You say, well, I'm going to meditate and I'm going to draw in this energy and I'm going to do this. And people say, but nothing is happening. Because it's not happening at a level at which our senses operate unless you have expanded senses. To the everyday human senses, you don't see it, but you do feel it. And if you go into a deep meditation, you might not see energy or feel energy directly, but you feel the change in how you feel in your body. So maybe it's just more peace for now, or you feel a greater sense of well-being when you meditate, for example. But you're working with unseen energy to bring a greater harmony and a greater balance into the physical form of your body and the planet itself. So I like to explain this by describing the difference between doing yoga and doing yoga. So you can go to the yoga studio and you can throw your arms and legs around and you can dance on the back of your head and you can do all these kinds of fancy physical things, and they're exercise. You could ride your bike and it's the same thing. Or you can sit and you can divinely commune with your soul. And you can ask your soul to be with you energetically while you do that exercise, or while you do that toning, or while you do the movement. And in fact, you can ask it to show you what to do. And the energy will. And if you pay attention to your body, you may be going through a program of yoga and you're supposed to move your right leg and then your left leg or whatever, but you know intuitively, right now what I need to do is this. And if you move your body in that way, you'll feel your energy open. And so when you're doing yoga instead of yoga, you will be taught by spirit. It will teach you. And the energy of your spirit will help you make progress with the work that you're doing. And this is really true in all of our esoteric activities. When we invoke these higher levels of order, then we are setting up an energy field that's supportive around us. And this is how working with divine energies has always taken place. So for example, we're sitting here, and this is already a pretty high vibrational space. But not every hotel room you're sitting in is going to feel that way when you first plant yourself there. Okay? But if you go and you shift the energy a little bit, you're going to create an environment that will make energy work easier. So you might, for example, sit and tone the word Om. And Om will create a resonance field. And it will make a space of energy that's in very great harmony. And that makes it easier to achieve other things than if you're doing it in the middle of a storm or a tempest of some kind, you see? So we are calling in the energies of our own higher presence, our I am presence, and we're bringing that energy in consciousness. We're invoking it because it's a free will world. We're bringing that energy in and we're asking it to be present with us while we do things. And this is how we work spiritually with energy. So, we'll talk about unity field healing. This was a work that was gifted through a series of meditative visions. And it's performed first by bridging and strengthening the alignment with your own DNA axis, and then empowering that through the use of a light template that I was shown after a visitation with Max. Okay. Now, many, many years ago, I was in an energy treatment session, and I experienced a vision. And what happened in this vision was this light cord came down, like it came down from the center of the cosmos or something. That's how it felt. And it was like a wire, and it came down, and it felt like it plugged in the top of my head. And it sat there, and I started to vibrate and feel it. And then all of a sudden, the cord opened up, and I could see it wasn't one string, it was two. And it had the appearance of a DNA strand. And it sat there, and it started to vibrate, and I could feel it, and then that was it. And then many, many, many years went by before the next part of this story. In the 11/11 event in Arkansas, I experienced an event where I received what I call the Unity Field Healing Template. It's a light template, or an activation code, if you will. And the way that this happened was I was sitting in meditation, and you can kind of see from the picture, here I am, very happy. And then there's this kind of interdimensional space, and I'm starting to see things that exist in another plane of reality, okay? And the first thing that happened was a pyramid formed. And it started as a dot of light, and then the rays came down to form the pyramid, but it was made of light. I could see through the entire thing. And then, lo and behold, another one came down, a point of light, and it formed a second pyramid. And then a third one formed. And I thought, this is going to go on all day. But the next thing that happened was the fourth dot that came down, instead of opening up into another pyramid, it opened up to form a sphere. And then inside the sphere, two smaller spheres formed. And then inside of that, two smaller spheres formed. And then the whole thing started to vibrate. And it started to oscillate. And as the way that it looked was like filamentous light, okay, like blue, silver, white light. And it was in the form of this pattern. And then light started moving through it, and the whole thing popped from 2D into 3D. So it went from circles to spheres within spheres. And as light was moving through all of the spheres, it was like when you watch a car, the energy goes forward, and then it gets so fast that it starts to look like it's moving backward now. So the energy was going forward and backward at the same time. And as I looked at it, it was creating a yin and a yang pattern. Wherever there was a sphere, there was a yin and a yang symbol. Okay, made of active light. And then about 2 days later, I was on the internet, not looking for this symbol, mind you, but doing something else. And this popped up on the computer. And I thought, oh my God, that's exactly what I saw the other day in the form of a crop circle. Then I went through a personal activation experience. And I did a yoga session one day. And I was laying down after the session. And after I did it, I was dead man's pose, which is my favorite. I love it. This template came back into my mind, and I could see it again. And it activated again. But this time, instead of just being made up of the white light, there were all kinds of other energies coming out of it. So it looked like starlight or angelic light, translucent oranges and purples and really beautiful, beautiful colors. And then as it was moving, I could feel my body reacting to the energy. And I was kind of like a marionette, like my arm would jolt and my leg would jolt and my body would have to wiggle. And I'd go through all kinds of motions, and then all of a sudden it stopped. And I knew that I had received some kind of an attunement. And then I realized, oh, this is a pattern for healing somehow. This is trying to show me that this is to be used to heal the body. Then at the 12-12-12, I had a few more visions at the same seminar with the EarthKeeper group. And the way that this vision opened up first was I could see the galactic spiral. So it was like through the top of my head, I was looking at the entire universe somehow. And then all of a sudden, I could see the Earth, and I was standing on the Earth looking up at the galaxy. And the spiral arms of the galaxy came down and wrapped around the Earth. And I felt this immense love flush through my body. And as this happened, this was when I saw this staircase that I talked about earlier. I saw the stairs, and then I saw the DNA molecule. And the next thing that happened was I saw that big cosmic DNA molecule again. And inside the molecule, I saw this pattern. And it was starting to move around. And the way I often describe it is, you know that commercial where the scrubbing bubbles come out of the can and they go around, they clean your whole bathroom, and you're really grateful so you don't have to hire a maid because you really don't want to clean it yourself and all that. So it moved around the DNA. And as it was moving around the DNA, there were light pops everywhere. There was energy moving and popping. And I knew that this was a recalibration pattern. As it moved through the DNA, it was opening up like strictures or tendrils that were holding the DNA from being able to open and work the way it's supposed to work. Okay? And that's really what led to Unity Field Healing. So I started doing this work with hands-on sessions, which I still do to this day. But I was shown after a short time to create audios to do the work. So there are 3 meditations that I've recorded, and you listen to them, you know, in the comfort of your own home and in your own sacred space. And the first is an attunement to your DNA axis. The second is an attunement to the template. And then the third is to use those 2 attunements to work with your own personal journey. So for example, if you're working on healing an issue or something that's going on in your life psychologically or whatever, we all have our stuff, right? We all have our things we're working through in our journey. So you can put them in intentionally into this session, and then you go through the energetic attunement with that as your purpose. And then you can receive from that session whatever you need to move you forward, okay, in that process. And so I kind of thought, well, this really work. You know, because I had done distance sessions and things before, but I was still a little skeptical. And the proof is always in the pudding, right? You have to kind of see it to believe it. And so people started doing these sessions, and they started giving me feedback of the things they were living. And I realized that there's a tremendous power in it because people are really moving forward by doing this work. So it gave me a lot of comfort and confidence, because the last thing I would ever want to do is misrepresent spirit, okay? And then the 4th session came along after a period of time when I started to do sessions or seminars to explain this work to people. And so there's a 4th session called The Power of Group Attunement. And that's done when we work together in a seminar format, and it's done as a collective. So we're going to kind of do an abridged session 4 today together as a meditation, okay? So you'll get to experience the work for yourself. So the sessions, for people who are interested, they're on you purchase them on a little USB tag, and you can put them into your computer and put them on your iPhone or whatever you like to use for audio device. You download the sessions, and there's a whole little pamphlet explaining how to do the work, and then you sit in the comfort of your own experience and do it on your own. And I was doing private sessions, but they're all booked up at this point, so I won't even mention that. And then this is the book that Tib talked about earlier, The Missing Pill. So we've covered a lot of information, and a lot of it is covered in the book. So if you want to learn more about it or read more about it, that's also something that's available to you, okay? How are we doing for time? 10 minutes? Okay. So I'll make a quick announcement before we do that. I'm organizing a seminar in 2017 in Lemuria. And it's in December, right before Christmas, so that you can come and either head back home for Christmas or stay and spend Christmas in Hawaii. I just wanted to let you know about it. There's some very brilliant speakers and people who are attuned with this new level of consciousness and unfolding energy. And there'll be flyers for this at my table, so you can stop by and pick one up if that's something that might be of interest to you. But let's take a few minutes together, and we're going to do an alignment with the truth. Okay. 5. A very quick alignment with the truth. We work at quantum speed. So just quickly now, close your eyes and go inside. Just take a nice big breath, big deep breath, and feel the presence of your spirit in your body. And breathe it in. Breathe big, breathe deep, and bring that power and that light into your physical body and your energy system. And just feel the vitality that comes with that breath. And see yourself as a pyramid. And at the very base of your being, you open up a wide foundation in the form of a square. And it rises to a point of light above the crown of your head. And you're sitting in this pyramid. And all of our pyramids are interfacing with each other, and we're forming this huge pyramid of light. And together we're going to invoke the tone Om. And you'll feel the sense of harmony that forms within your field. And I'm going to speak directly to the quantum DNA of each person present in the room and ask it to make a conscious connection. And just allow your energy field to adjust to that resonance. And I'm going to call upon the unity field template, the pattern of light in a quantum field, and ask for this pattern to be active. And just allow yourself to receive in your own experience whatever is perfect and appropriate for you to receive. And breathe it in. Take a nice big breath. Excellent. And gently open your eyes. And come on back into the room. That may be the fastest attunement I've ever done in my entire life. But it's powerful, and you'll feel it continuing to work with you over the next hours and days. So thank you very much for your attention, and my love to all of you. I love you all.
You're amazing. Thank you. Stay up here just a second. So another round of applause for Dr. John Ryan. I just want to take a moment to tell you that there are certain people on the planet that have the ability to shift the energy, that carry a tremendous light. And John and his partner Michael are two of the most brilliant lights that I have ever met. And they bring an energy to every event that they come to. And so in addition to being a brilliant medical doctor, these are brilliant souls. These are nurturing people. You don't see that ego. You don't see that my way or no way. What you feel is love and acceptance. Thank you. Now, if you'll bear with us, we're going to do one more presentation with a wonderful lady from Australia. Talk about some topics for about 90 minutes that I think are extremely important, and I hope that you'll be able to attend, and I'll take questions at the end, but we're going to talk a lot about the forgotten science as taught by Edgar Cayce of auric integrity and gemstones. And while we're on the topic of Cayce, the store is not open yet.